and welcome to another wonderful podcast of Where Are They Now from Leone High School Class of 1995, proudly sponsored by the Pulse of Polynesia. I am Leasa Filoyali, coming to you live from Katy, Texas.
And Talofa, I'm Lena Famui now residing in the 808 Hawaii. They say it takes a village, so we want to recognize the Aina that makes this all run smoothly with Leaso and I. We have Eileen Tumalu monitoring Facebook and Fufui Petelo monitoring YouTube. Please feel free to stay engaged by dropping your comments or questions and chat with us to keep it fun. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up. I'm reading the comments via text message and screenshots, so I'll be multitasking and looking off screen here and there, but I'm definitely paying attention.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so, without further ado, we want to recognize our very first Ungapanka all the way down from Ghana. So for those of you who are watching, I want you to put down in the comments what Ungapanka means to you. So without further ado, again, in the hot seat, we have our very own Sili'a Faatili. What's up? What's up?
Hey, hello everyone. How's everyone doing?
What?
So, can
What?
you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Is it like too loud?
No, that is perfect. That's perfect sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Sili'a, what have you been up to? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just living life, you know. It's been what, close to 30 years since we last seen each other. Yeah, close to 30 years. Damn, that is a long time. But yeah, it's still, trying to live the American dream. We all left our homes to look for that future. So that's why I'm here, and I'm glad and kind of proud of where I am,
Mm.
and hopefully the same to all of you guys. So the same old grind, just work and then family
So Saligo,
and that
I
kind of
know
stuff.
that you talked about just living a life like what everybody else is doing, right? But really, what did you decide to do right after high school?
Oh man, I really didn't have a plan. The plan was for me to just growing up, we were all tired of, all the
Mhm.
fit outs and, sasafai and Vile Carlo, Fulusaipoa, all that stuff. So I really didn't have a plan, because number one, I suck at school. I,
We all.
I barely graduate, in high school. So
Mhm.
it was a struggle of mine, to kind of, you know, school was never my, forte. It was,
Mhm.
it was my weakness, comprehending stuff and reading and that kind of stuff. So um, I tried, but I suck at it. So I remember I enrolled, right after high school. I was home that summer in '95,
Mhm.
and then enrolled in the Colisi.
Okay.
I think I took like the first semester there, and shit, I was struggling too. So I really didn't really know, what to do with my life at
Mhm.
the time. So, but I was good at, playing soldier. When I was a kid, always think that I'm a good ninja or a soldier, playing army and that kind of stuff. So that was my other option was
Mhm.
maybe join the military, because we all know that's the only way out of the island is either you're athletic, you're smart, or the military. So I wasn't athletic. I wasn't smart. So the next best thing for me was to go take that aspect. And I think if Mona and Tikaino, our classmates,
Mhm.
I think it was us three that went and took the test together. And we were supposed to get recruited together and leave at the same time, but they have other options, I guess. So it ended up just me. I left at uh, December 19th
Mhm.
of '95 when I left. So,
Oh wow.
and
So,
I've been here since.
where did you get stationed at right after boot camp? Where did you get stationed?
It was
And
up in Alaska.
Did you join the Army, Navy? Which part
It
of
was the Navy.
the
It
Navy?
was the Navy. I remember. Yeah, I remember. The recruiter. It was a Samoan guy. You guys know the local speaker in Ili or Kafuma? You know the local speaker there on that straightaway going towards the airport,
Oh, yes. Yes.
where the pump, the speed bump.
Yes, that's like that you're talking about the one that's kind of close to Lupilele?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
remember.
think it's either Ili or, like, I know it's like going towards the airport. Yeah, his house is the one across from the church. The
Oh, wow.
recruiter, the Navy recruiter. So
Wow, a
I
recruiter for the
remember it was
Navy.
like yesterday.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So, coming
So yeah,
all the way from Sekanga, going down and deciding to join the military.
yeah. Yeah, so I did 4 years. I did 4 years in the Navy. I got lucky because when I joined, well, first they sent me up to the boot camp was in Chicago, Great Lakes, Illinois. So it was the first, and it was in the middle of winter. It was the first time I seen snow. It was the first time for everything. I think that was the first time I got on an airplane was from Samoa to Hawaii,
Wow.
and then from Hawaii all the way to
Chicago.
Illinois,
Wow.
Chicago. Yeah, and like I said, I got sick the first 2 weeks when I arrived. It was because I wasn't used to the weather.
It was super
It was
cold.
eating me alive. Yeah, it was in the middle of winter, and the snow there. I will never forget this. It was so cold that every time I spit, it like froze right away. That's how cold it was over there.
It is
Dang.
cold there. So what are some
Yeah.
of the things that you did to help you to adapt to, like you said, being the first time off island in the mainland? What are some of the things that you did to help you adapt to the weather and, to your surroundings?
It was a struggle at first because I can barely speak English. You know, I didn't know how to call a lot of, like, when we go to the cafeteria and all that stuff. We were lucky because we issued all our uniforms and, to kind of fight the weather. We have big parkas and all that stuff. We have winter boots. And so they took care of us as far as clothing. But food and all that stuff, yeah, I was struggling. I didn't know how to name certain, how to fix your eggs.
Wow.
Because we have a line, that they'll do all the fancy egg like omelets or scrambled eggs, fry over easy, all that stuff. So
Hmm.
I will always try to pick the guy that's in front of me, whatever he chose. I will always say, oh, same, same, whatever that guy is getting as far as eggs. But everything else, I just go through the line and they'll, give me my food. So, but yeah, it was a struggle because of that, because of the language, and being from, the islands, trying to adjust to the life here in America. It was different because I didn't understand how Americans or how the kids here,
Hmm.
they're already way too advanced, with and they have a certain way to that they operate. So I didn't fit well, or because I didn't understand. So it got me in a lot of trouble that very first month of boot camp. They have to send me back. They kicked me out of the first unit because of my struggles trying to adjust, with the American life. Well, the biggest issue was me not understanding, the yelling, all that stuff during boot camp. So yeah, it was a struggle, but I adapt and I kind of adjust, as I go, and I learn a lot during that time.
We have a comment on here from Honolulu Girl. It says, joining the military can really shape a person in profound ways. For many, it's a journey that fosters discipline, responsibility, and a deep sense of purpose. What kind of changes or growth did you notice in yourself?
Well, from you just changed, from being a boy to a man real quick, in boot camp. Like you you're on your own. You're not going to rely on anyone else. You're there to do a job, a mission, daily task that they're going to give you. So it pretty much you're just do as what they say or what you're told to do, and and the discipline, yeah, that was their MO. They try to break you down. They're
Yeah.
trying to break yourself down to the lowest level, and so they can slowly build you back up. So and that's the experience I went through in being in the military. So
There's a lot of, I know when we had podcasts with us, a couple of other people, they talked about being homesick. And
oh
were there times when you felt like you wanted to quit? And what stopped you? Because obviously you completed your time in the military, right?
yeah,
When those time came, how did you deal with it?
write letters. That was the number one thing that kind of helped me during my homesickness was to write letters to my family
Hmm.
back home, especially my grandparents, because my oh, my dog is barking right now. Yeah, my grandma was still alive at the time, so if you guys didn't know, it was my grandparents that raised me back
Yeah.
home. So that's why I have a very close relationship with my grandma. So yeah, I will write letters, to her, and then hopefully I receive letters from her. It's the only medicine that any soldier or sailor or airman that join the military for to cope with the homesickness was to receive letters from home,
Hmm.
because you only get one phone call when you first arrive, and it's not like a conversation. It's just you're just gonna call home. Hey, I made it home safe, or made it here safe. I'm alive. I'm about to start training, and then boom, hang up, say goodbye. So receiving letters and writing letters it was like the medicine for me to kind of cope with all the the homesickness at the time. But yeah, it was tough. I don't know if you guys experience it, but being the only Samoan kid too in the entire
Hmm.
unit, because there's not a lot of Samoans that join the Navy. I
Yeah.
learned that, I think right now slowly more and more are joining the Navy, but it was always the Army or the Marines, you know. But at that when I joined in '95, yeah, I was the only. Oh no, it was me and another girl from Onyengoa that left to go to basic training, but she was on a different division.
And
So
she didn't get stationed where you were, right?
no, no, we went to boot camp together, but she was on a female division. I was with all the guys.
So,
We never ran into each other the entire time. We were there for 3 months. Yeah, we never see each other. I didn't even know how she did. I heard I think she did all 20 years. It it was the Afafing Fefe Elwing Oningwa.
oh
I
wow.
forgot her name. Yeah, I forgot her name.
So after, I mean, right after your basic training, you ended up going to another cold place, Alaska. Was it which part of
Yeah,
Alaska?
it was in ADAC. It was the part of the Aleutian
Wow.
chain there in Alaska. Is like at the tip of one of those islands at the tip of the Aleutian
Yeah.
chain. It was funny because you guys know Lorena, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Lorena was actually stationed the next island over in I think it was Kodiak
Hmm.
in her in what was her? She was Coast Guard,
That's
and
right.
then yeah, and then her boat actually came over to ADAC where I was stationed, and we ran into each other. Yeah, she was like the only other classmate I ran into, during this whole time. It was
Wow.
Lorena around 96.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she recognized you because it's pretty crazy when, it's been a
Yeah.
while. Wow.
Yeah. Well, we just graduated a year before in
Okay.
'95, and then I think it was '96 is when her boat came over to our station there in ADAC. And yeah,
Lorena, if you're listening, I can't wait to get you on this podcast as well. So,
Lorena retired. I
yeah,
saw
she
she retired and she's back home now.
that is right. I know that she's back home in Samoa. So, you know,
Yeah.
kudos to her for being able to go back home. A lot of us would like to go back home, you know.
Yes, yeah.
But,
How about you,
um,
Theo? Like to move back home? Is that one of the things that you would think of?
Me, um, I would love to. Yeah. 2 years in 2023, my family, it was one of the biggest honor. My family um, chose me to be one of the matais for our family back home in Upolu. It was like one of the happiest, time of my life when they asked me if I wanted to do that, and I was like, what other better way to kind of get back to my family or to serve my family, especially the high chiefs of the family, because that is my grandpa's side is in Polu from Falealili. So yeah, um, so I still have that in my heart, like I'm here, but my heart is still back home, with the family. So I would love to go back home. It's hard because I have a family here now. So that's the hardest part is, the American, family here. And then I
yeah.
will go visit, but
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe sometime in the future when I retired, I'll probably try to retire back home.
So did you go back home for that, or you did you decline it, or were you able to go to
Yeah, I
revisit?
did. I did. Yeah, I went. We did a whole
Nice.
some one tradition of South Fa'i and all that stuff. So yeah, it was really cool. It was my first time, seeing that part of the culture. Even though I grew up there, in Sekanga, I have I was in the Aumanga for the village, so
Hmm.
I understand that. But I never really got deep into the culture, like the Matai stuff, and until I went back and I went with my dad. So so I kind of start relearning that whole culture thing, how to speak proper, and because yeah, there's like a whole language for the Macais. I don't do that. I'm a low Macai
Yeah.
because they have the talking chiefs and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just too much for me. It's just me accepting it to kind of start from the bottom and kind of slowly learn and to serve the family. That was
Yes.
pretty much why I accepted it.
Kudos to you for not forgetting your roots, right? Malola ka
Oh
wuho,
yeah,
right? Malola
yeah,
lefa wuho.
yeah.
So there's a message on here that says, you mentioned being raised by your grandparents. What valuable life lessons have you learned from being raised by them?
Man, I would say everything that I become right now, it was all the lessons that were taught to me by my grandma. My grandpa passed away when I was only 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so and he was like the biggest influence, in my life because of the man he was. He he never went to school, and again, like I said, he's from Upolu, married into my grandma who's a Kukuila, and that's how our name, the Faatili name, is in Sekanga. It was because of my grandma. So he married into the Sekanga family, and yeah, it's pretty much everything that they taught me. How to be respectful and treat other fairly and respect. So it's everything.
Hmm.
I would not be the man I am today if it wasn't for all the lessons that my grandma taught me. And that includes the sasas and the because most of the times I'll be falonka. Yeah, my whole village will know when my grandma
Oh, yeah.
start chasing me all over. So those are all the beatings and the sasas and the fakong and all that stuff. I took that with me when I came here.
Yeah.
So
Before we go on, sorry, Lay, before we
Oh, go
go
ahead.
on, I'd like to take a little time to pay homage to your grandmother. You did say a lot of good things about her. So, for those who don't know about the woman that she was in raising you, would you like to share a little bit about her so that everyone can know?
Of course. I don't know. Maybe you guys are too young, but my grandma is Toyasu Fatili. She used to run the school program on TV back in the 70s and the 80s. And I think we in our generation, I think that that program kind of slowly fade away, but she was the first teacher to have that the school program on KDCK TV,
Wow.
back in the 70s and the 80s. So a lot of like the generation before us, I think, and maybe two generations before us, that was like part of their school program was to watch the my grandma on TV doing all the teachings and for the kids. So um, a lot of even the governor Kongiola, he attended my grandma's funeral because he was one of the teacher or one of the students
Hmm.
that kind of went to my grandma during her teaching time. Um, my grandma was a very short lady, but she has a heart of a lion, and she is well known, around in Alakawa for being very sawa because, but she does it in because she loves the kids.
Hmm.
It's it's her way of teaching. It's passion, and making sure that each student, get what they deserve. So yeah, she's well known in Arakawa and I think around the island because of that program that she was running on TV. So
Celia,
yeah, so
back
there's my grandma.
I'm gonna take you back to your childhood. How was it growing up in Sekanga? Everyone calling the west side of the kids growing up on the west side of the island Ungapanka. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, I love it, man. My childhood. I love my childhood. All of us should embrace our young days. We were free. As long as you go to school, you come home, do your fit hours,
Mhm.
and then go swim. And it was freedom. I love my life growing up. Yeah,
What kind of
everything like I
else did
said,
you do?
everything oh the usual. Fight soccer, fight leumu, fulum, because I have a big Saipoa. So, and I think back in my days, I think it was only my family and you guys remember Don Fayai?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don, yeah,
Yes.
he's from the same village.
Hmm.
At that time, I think it was just me and his family that had Saipoas at the time. So, yeah, I had a lot of pigs growing up. So those are my chores. After school, I will make sure I have the food for my pigs. Um, and at the time, we used to buy the feed from the feed store in Kafuma, and then if we run out, or don't have enough money, so I have to go up in the mountain, to find fa'i or popo,
Yeah.
to feed my pigs. So those those are all my fit outs. And I was the oldest grandchild
Hmm.
on the boy. I was the oldest boy of my generation, so. My grandma and my family rely on me on all that stuff to make sure that um, all the chores are done,
Hmm.
for the family. Saka, yeah, I was an expert of doing sakas every night. So, because my grandma loves fali fight, or sometimes if it's time for taro, oh yeah,
So
I'll do a
Celia,
mean falifu.
not a lot of people know your background. Um, you are. Can you tell us about your background, your ethnicity?
I'm half Korean and Samoan. My dad is Samoan, and my mom is Korean. They split up when I was very young, and I think that was the reason why my dad took me to Samoa, and then that's how I was raised by my grandparents. So yeah, so that's
And
pretty much it. You know.
what was it like growing up in a multi-generational household?
Multi-generational. What was that?
From your
What does that
grandparents,
mean?
and then like saying if your parents were around for different generations, being that you were also the
Oh,
oldest of your generation, I think you said, or
yeah,
the oldest.
yeah, yeah. I was pretty much the only kid for a while because my older cousin was living in Sailele on the other side of the island. So I was like for a while I was the only child at that time, growing up. And then my younger cousins, born, and then I pretty much raised most of the my cousins, growing up. So um what was the other question?
Oh,
Did your
How
younger, your younger nieces and nephews that you help raise, did they follow the same path as you did in joining the military?
No. I think I was the only one other than my younger brother. He joined the reserves,
Mhm.
and then I think my other younger cousin, he also joined the reserve, and he's there in Hawaii right now. I don't know if you guys uh remember. A lot of you guys went to Mikifi, right?
Yes.
Leaso, did you go to
I
Mikifi?
went to
Lena, did
McKiff,
you
yeah.
go to Mikifi?
I think Lena came to high school during, not, but she didn't come during
Oh,
elementary.
oh, oh. Yeah, a lot. I think a lot of our classmates, including if you probably remember my auntie, because she was a teacher there in Mikifi. My auntie Lepa
English teacher,
in Mikifi. I don't know.
probably. I do know Edwin's dad was the Samoan history teacher, and I think your auntie was maybe history, social studies, or maybe English, one of those.
Uh, well, anyways, yeah. So I remember there's a lot of our classmates remember my auntie. So the reason why I brought her up is because her kids, her two kids are the ones that I'm talking about that I kind of grew up with and raised. So Faitau is the guy that's in Hawaii right now, and I think he's still in the reserves. So
Mm.
Were there who were the people in the village that you looked up to? Because I know you said that your grandma raised you, and your grandfather passed away, right? Were there any other people in the village that you looked up to or helped to raise you?
my uncle, who is carrying our name right now, he is still back home right now. My uncle Fatili. He was also he used to work for Public Works. He was a kusiaka. He's a drafter,
Okay.
Oh,
you know, and he's retired now. He's also retired military. So he's the only when my grandpa passed away, he was the only other man that I had in my life that kind of raised me, to teach me, how to do the house, how to use the sapelu, that kind of stuff, how to chop, certain, the amo, everything that you need, to survive. So he pretty much taught me all the life skills or yeah, skills that you need to take care of the family. It was my
Nice.
uncle.
Love it.
Yeah.
Dikaino and Sana says Malo Sili'a. And then we have a
Who?
question. Dikaino and Sana.
Oh, well, yeah. Sana was last week, right?
yep.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And then we
yeah.
have a
Me and Sana. We grew up together too when we were young, because Sana was in our family in Pavayay. So I grew up with her because she knows me well too. Because we used to go to her property there to get some bananas or
Mhm.
whatever that we need, or coconuts,
Mhm.
that whatever we need for a weekend. Get ready for the umu. So Sana knows me well, and I know her well too.
Nice. Honolulu girl is asking, what are some cool things you've done or seen in your life?
Well, the coolest thing to me was, when after my station up in Alaska, I got transferred down here in Naval Air Station Whidbey Island, and because I was my job in the Navy, I was the aviation ordnance, so I was in a squadron of airplanes. So our squadron was attached to this aircraft carrier called a Stennis, John C. Stennis, and it was the very first. They just commissioned into the fleet, so we were like the first squadron that went on that aircraft carrier. And at that time, they were getting ready to do the war tour, of the whole world on that for 6 months. So
Wow.
that I got to see and I got to go to a lot of places in the world just from that deployment that I did there in it was 97 or 98. So, and it's funny because during that tour, there was two Samoan kids that was on the boat with me. It was you guys, and both of them were from Malisi. It was Vafuti and Daniel Lee. Vafuti, I think he's class on 1990 or class on 91. He was well known. He was a really good football player because I remember watching, all the football games, and he was one of the beast running backs there, back in the day during their time.
Mhm.
It was Vafuti and Daniel Lee. Both of them went to Malisi. So yeah, that was the coolest thing. I got to see the world, and then got back. And then when I got out of the Navy, I found a civilian job. But then 9/11 happened. We all know what happened, in 9/11.
Yeah.
So in July of the following year, I re-enlisted again, but this time I went into the Army National Guard. So, and then I did two deployments.
Dang.
Did two deployments with the guard, overseas. First I was the first tour I was doing halftime, 6 months down in Saudi Arabia. Kind of
Wow.
guarding the U.S. embassy that
Mhm.
we had there in Saudi Arabia, and then the last 12 months I was up in Iraq.
Wow.
So and that was in 2003. We were like the second wave that went into Iraq at that time, and then got back. We got deployed again in 2008. So, but this time took me all the way up to Mosul, and it was Mosul. If any military guys that on our classmate know, Mosul was a hot spot for at that time. So yeah, so I got to see that side, and I've been all over,
Mhm.
a lot of places in the world. The coolest thing was that deployment in the Navy because I got to see a lot of the world. And then the second coolest thing, which is still probably my top favorite, was when I got deployed in Thailand. Now, Thailand, even though it was like a deployment, but it was vacation. We were there for 3 months and it was like we were on vacation. So that was like my favorite deployment.
Nice. So we have a comment that says transitioning from the Navy to the Army can be a unique experience as each branch has their own culture, training, and ways of doing things. Were you in a similar role in the Army, or did the switch involve a significant change in career path for you?
It was a big change. That there's different language, there's different culture, because the Navy have their own certain way of doing stuff. and then their terms or terminology, the way they speak is a lot different than in the army. The cool thing and the lucky thing for me is I didn't have to go back to basic training when I transfer over to the army side. They pretty much took all my credentials or whatever you want to call it from the Navy, and then accepted in the guard. So, and the guard is run by Washington State. So again, I had to relearn, but it wasn't too bad or too hard because I've already have a background in how the discipline and all that stuff. They're all the same. It's
Mhm.
just a different language or different traditions,
Military
with the Navy and the Army. So it wasn't a big challenge. It was just getting in, and then um, I did grew up in the Army because I spent 10 years there in the Guard. So I did grew up a lot, and that's where I learned all of my leadership skills because I was very young in the Navy. It was all party and clubs and all that stuff in the 4 years when I first came here. But the when I transfer over the Army, I kind I was
yeah.
so that is pretty much where I all the lessons I learned through the on the Army side is where took I took little pieces from the Navy, but most of the leadership style and everything that I learned leader wise is from the Army. So,
Mm.
So from Facebook, Decano said, Sili'a, remember our ASCC days.
yeah.
And, and then Sana said, my airman just got back from Saudi last September, Kalofai. Thank God for your safe return, brother.
Yeah.
Sana's also asking, what is something that you miss about Samoa since moving up to the mainland?
I just miss I miss I miss the life, how everything slows down in Samoa. Like the last time I went over there, it was June of 23. Everything is just calm. Everything is slow. Like you feel like you're in a different world. Everything stops and slows down, and I appreciate that. The only difference since being back there was there's a lot of cars on the island. Like it's so almost every family and every individual have cars now. It's like a traffic. It can start all the way from Uli all the way to Fangongo. It was that bad. So that
Everybody and
part,
their baby has a car, right?
yeah, and not just cars. I'm talking about big trucks that can only fit like on one side, but everybody had monster trucks, and I was like, damn. I remember growing up, there was maybe only one or two family in the entire village that have cars, but now it's like everyone. I was like, damn, the money is good there. So, but yeah, I miss the your house, and then the Eva La Fiafi with your the village friends that you have or grew up with. So
Yes.
all of that, and then I miss the ocean. Because my house is literally the front yard is the ocean. So you don't need a kayak. You just jump in the ocean and
You
and
jump
wash
in
all
the
the
ocean
dirt.
and you get
Yeah.
ganges for not showering. After-
Wow.
Nah. Yeah. If you jump in the ocean, you just come back in the room with all the malalas and yeah, just
Take it off.
wipe it all over. It'll Kanye will go away.
There you go.
Vi said, in regards to how you're saying there's everybody has a car and big car, Vi said, because we're ballers, that's why.
It's true.
Mhm.
Everyone like I was like, damn, everybody nice, beautiful trucks too. So I was like, shit, I need to move back there.
Right.
Right? So other than big cars, were there any special customs or traditions that you still hold dear today?
Custom and traditions, the Fasamoa, the respect. I still carry myself as a Samoan, respecting, everyone, respecting your elders, and I try to carry myself, and like I said, you guys know me. I'm not a talkative person. I'm not a loud person, so I always feel a move and just treat each other with the respect.
Mhm.
So it's follow is pretty much the number one thing that I always keep to myself, or that I always keep with me, and how I carry myself. So,
So Leah, there's a picture I want to show up here. Hey, Eileen, can you post? Can you put that picture up on display?
what picture?
That's what are those pictures? I think those pictures that I think we photobomb. Um,
Oh,
So she's gonna share right now.
okay.
Those that can't hear. Oh, it's not in my.
so I was just wondering when I was looking at that picture, like I know it was in our junior prom because we were seniors at that time, and so I'm trying to figure out who Talia's date was that night.
I
Oh,
I
There,
don't even.
does everybody see that? There's Talia right there with his date, and we were
Yeah,
photobombing.
who is that date?
the question is, who is the date?
Yeah, who's the date?
Inquiring minds want
But
to know. Again,
man,
it's not.
look how young we look. Shit.
I know. Everybody was trying to take a
Yeah.
picture right next to Celia. You were the man that night.
Wait, it
Yeah.
looks like you were
Okay.
into the picture and not this way to his date.
Yeah. That is a good thing that you guys cut off the date. So we we would never know who the date was. I don't even remember that night.
Now everyone on Facebook wants to know who's your date.
I I
We were
swear
all
I
a
don't
date.
know.
We need to get your ninja skills out. Let's figure it out tonight. Thank you, Eileen, for putting that picture
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. You guys can figure it out because I don't know.
That was
I literally had to call my sisters or my cousins and ask them, hey, you guys remember who I went to, the Savali for my senior prom, and we were like guessing, and I think we came up with Faraimo's sister. You guys
Was
remember
it?
Faraimo?
Yes, I
Yeah,
remember Primal.
yeah. It was Fandolua. I think she was 1 year older than us.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, she's from my village, so. I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. I didn't have, date or whatever. So it was just a girl from my village.
That was a cute picture, though. You know, you can say that all of us right next to you was your date.
There you go. I got how many of you were on that picture? Like five or six? Yeah, I
Six.
got 6 days that night.
There you go.
right. So, um, there are other comments. Let's see. Bai said, after that night, everyone had a different parking lot date. And then, so you were known as a quiet kid in high school. Were you always observing, or were you just waiting for the right moments to speak?
I was just observing, I quiet. I still carry myself like that, I'm still quiet, and I just try to live a very low key life. I'm not a big rah rah person. I don't have that personality. I'm a very low key. So um, yeah, I never get in trouble. I never have beef or trouble with anyone in our class.
Hmm.
I just very low key. I should say.
Sana wants to know, what are your favorite memories from high school?
Man,
We all want to know.
everything. Well, high school to me, it was just I was just there, to something to do to get away from doing all of the house.
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I literally was just there, just getting by. Um, but favorite things in high school, I would say, the morning time when we get to school, because we will have that, after our breakfast, we have that break time before all the class starts. During that time, I know all the Ungapanka kids will. You guys know the small shack that was right next to the cafeteria?
Uh-huh.
I think it's some kind of electric room or a boiler
Yep.
room or whatever.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my hangout. Right there, with all the Sekanga kids. So we were some innovative kids back then because I remember we were always play using the Pepa Susu, you know, from the cafeteria, and we turn it into a ball, some kind of ball, and then we will play volleyball, we will play basketball using that Pepa Susu. So we were like some very, we are very creative back in the day when we were young. We just improvise and
Mhm.
and just roll with it. So those were my favorite times. Like, and then also in the morning when all the buses were coming to, the pasi kua, not the pasi aonga, the like
Oh,
spunky. And
yes.
so it's like a competition who has the loudest music coming through that curve to drop all the kids. That was like I would never forget that. And then of course all the lunchtime where if we have like a basketball league or a volleyball league, they will have games in the gym and then we'll all go watch, and those are really good. PE was my favorite because I get to go and be outside of the classroom and be at the gym playing volleyball or basketball.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, those are some of the favorites. The other thing was the Samoan days. Those the culture days.
Mhm.
Those were very fun because we get to learn our culture and learn, the Samoan songs and compete against other classes and all that stuff. So I love that, and I
Mhm.
missed it. I will never forget because they stopped doing Samoan days
Did
for a
they?
while, right?
Did they?
Did they?
I
I don't
think they
know.
stopped. I think we only did it for like 2 years when we were there in high school.
That's right. We didn't have it for our senior year and our junior year. It was just
Yeah,
freshman and
I
sophomore.
think it was
No,
freshman and sophomore.
we did junior and senior year because
So we
we
didn't
were
do
Yeah.
a senior.
senior Lorena was the topo. We wore yellow
Uh,
and black.
Cause didn't we do that like at nighttime, like homeroom competition? Did it wasn't that the Samoan day we had? Cause Celia, you're right. We didn't do it big like we did in competition with
yeah, because I remember it was always in the middle of in front of the office, that
yeah.
big Malai. We were
Yeah,
doing Samoan Day there, and
Mhm.
I
yeah.
remember the best Samoan Day was when we had that Faluma kid. I think he was from Upolu. The kid that was on Faluma, he was the best Faluma that year.
Oh.
I probably have
I
a
know our
picture.
classmate. Yeah, I know our classmates know exactly, what I'm talking about because he was funny and he was the best for Aluma that year for Someone Day. And
He's
I
from
think we won.
Bailoa. He's from Bailoa, right? I think he's from or Leone. Well,
Yeah, I
I'll
know. Yeah, I know it was a kid that transferred. I think he's from Apia that came and joined our class for. I think he was there for a couple of years and then he left.
No,
But yeah, that Samoan Day I will never forget because he was really good.
no, yeah, Vi confirmed like we did have it during our junior and senior year because I know that's
okay.
the only years that I went to Leone High School and we had it junior and senior
Oh,
year.
okay.
I think our junior and
Celia, we both were probably skipping that time. Sorry.
Probably.
Yeah.
we have a question
Yeah.
that says, if you could go back in time, is there a moment where you wish you had spoken up or taken the opportunity to mend a relationship?
Met what?
Is
Like
there
go
any,
back and
yeah, in time, is there moments that you wish you spoken up Like sometimes when if something happened and you didn't speak up, or if you had a chance to mend a relationship with someone that might have gone bad. Are there any of those times that you can think of?
Not really. Like I said, I never had problems with anyone. I was a kid that was, just kept everything to myself, and part of it is I'm also shy.
Mhm.
Like I'm not a too outspoken person. So yeah, if I have to do it over again, maybe I'll speak up more or try to be friendly with everyone. But it wasn't my personality. So
Are you are
it's
you different now compared to before, as in being outspoken? Are you more outspoken now?
well, not really, not really. Like only if it involves with jobs, with my job or
Mhm.
in the military, because you have to speak. But I'm also a person that when I speak, I get straight to the point. I don't have maneuver ways or try to find the right thing to say. That's some of them of my weakness is when I say something, I'm always gonna get straight to the point, and the other end might not receive it properly because of that. But
Mhm.
and I learn, with the military background, I learn how to adjust, to make sure whatever I'm delivering is kind of respectful. So
We have a question online. When did you feel like you were living life to the fullest?
when I first, when I got out of boot camp, and I'm pretty sure every one of us that joined the military came from the island, from a small island here to America, know exactly what I'm talking about. It was the first time I ever, had money. I was watching Sivailoa because I knew exactly what she was talking about. It's the first time that we ever had actual money in our hands, and it was one of my biggest downfall at the time too because I did not know how to manage it, to the point where I was going crazy because I was trying to fit in,
Mhm.
with the culture that they already have here in America. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd because again, I was trying to fit in. Somebody that came from nowhere and nothing, and looking at all the styles and whoever you're hanging out with, you're trying to copy their style too. So, and they have families here. I don't. So I have to buy everything, just to try to fit in or look like them. So, like I said, I opened up credit cards upon credit cards, and every store chain that was back in the 90s, I had a credit card and just blew it up on clothes and shoes, hats, everything because again, I was trying to be somebody I'm not,
Mhm.
so and those are probably the good times and also the bad times because I learned a lot from that. At the end of the day, I finally realized, you know what? You don't really need all that bullshit because, like right now, I wear the same clothes, to go to work. Like, I really did not know at that time that you don't need all that stuff. It just keep it simple, you'll be out of trouble. So, but I did a lot of crazy stuff in my young days, after basic training, I was listening to Sivailoa and I agree with her, the club scene. Also, watch Molikoa. He's running the town there in Chico. I believe him. I believe him. He was the big man on campus back in our school days. He was the man. Like nobody would want to cross him. So
Mhm.
yeah.
We have a
So
couple things on
so
here
yeah,
that say,
all that stuff. Yeah, it was good times, and also it was good that I experienced all that, and then I learned that what, you don't need all that
Mhm.
stuff, that all that garbage. So, but I'm good now.
thank you for sharing that, because those that are watching this and when they leave, they can be more prepared for that. and understanding.
Yes.
So we
Yeah.
have a couple
Yeah.
comments on here. One says, "Oos, the cookies from your store back in Ala Tawa Lua days. Remember them days?"
Who was that? Who was that?
It says Big Worm. I'm not sure who the name
Hmm.
is. And then we have a question: which branch of the military would you recommend?
Oh, I say Army. Like I said, I grew up in the Army. The Navy, my Navy times,
Uh huh.
it was party. It was like I was young. I was I was there just party, drinking, and just going to the clubs. Like just get off the uniform and just straight to the boys and go to the club scene. My week or my club days, it'll literally start from Wednesday all the way till Saturday night. Take a break on Sunday, report into Monday, Tuesday, and then start all over again Wednesday all the way to Saturday. It was crazy. So
That was Mulipua that was talking about the cookies.
yeah, Morikoa, man, Morikoa, yeah. I mean, Morikoa used to come to used to go with us in Alakawa for a couple of years. Yeah, he so yeah, my grandma have a small convenience store in our village, and yeah, so all my friends from Malakawa after school we will walk over there, and then I used to take care of the store at the time too. So so my friends that will walk with me over to my store, and I'll just give them sainini maka, cookies, apaingu, and I
Ice cakes. No.
my grandma, yeah, rest her soul. But man, if she knew that I was doing all that stuff, yeah, I
Saliha,
pretty much run the store down.
can I ask if was there a special ingredient in that cookie?
Huh?
Was there a special ingredient in that cookie?
No, no, no,
Mulipua said,
no.
sticky fingers, Oos. Love it.
Yeah.
There's a question on here that says, who was the kindest person to you growing up aside from your family?
Who was the kindest person to me? Um, I think all my teachers in Leone, like they were all kind to me. I will never forget. Miki was probably one of my favorite teachers there because he was a Sawa old man, right? But he was for some reason he was always nice to me. So because I took his, I think he was geometry or in
It was
Leone, he was
geometry, yeah.
teaching geometry, and he knows because I struggle with classes. So he always take time, and he was very nice and very kind to me. Explaining all the his class. Because like I said, I was struggling at school no matter what subjects. But he is probably the top. Ingisi was really good to me. Tupe, he's kind of have that like he wants to be Sawa, and then at the same time he's also kind, to me. But yeah, I feel like it was all my teachers in high school. They were have a big influence in my life too. As far as being kind and respectful. So,
So, Saliha, people say that the quiet ones are always the most to the quiet ones always have the most to say. What's something people don't know about you that you love to share about yourself?
hmm, what don't you guys know about me? I I don't have anything. This is who I am. It's it's me. I don't. Yeah, I'm quiet. Again, like I said, I was raised by my grandparents, and then came here and pretty much is living the life that I live now. From all
Mhm.
the lessons I learned in my childhood. But yeah, there is really nothing, no secrets in my life. So
So if
Who
you
were
Yeah,
your
could go,
sorry.
no, no, go ahead, Lena.
no. Well, I was just gonna ask, who were your closest friends in high school, and what were you guys known for?
Well, my closest friends are pretty much the guys I grew up with. It was Mose. You guys know Mose? Mose Tawanu. Yeah, so
Yes.
he was one of them, but then he transferred over to go to Votech, Nguli Votech. So Mose Falavai were the boys I hung out with a lot. I would say my best friend, you know, in, in my childhood was you guys probably know him too because he went there during our freshman year, but he also transferred over to New Uli Votech. It was Joe Tivasiu. Do you guys remember him? He's from
Probably by
Masili.
face. Probably by face.
My
Oh,
face,
Yeah, it's
maybe.
been a
yeah, but
while.
he was yeah he was. I consider him my best friend when I was young. We do everything together. And even till today we still talk to each other, on the phone. He's down in he used to be in California, but now he's in Reno.
Mhm.
But yeah, he was one of the Ulavale kids, back in the day. But then again, he went and finished his school in Votech in Uli.
So, Celia, of all the things you've gone through in your life, right? And then there are kids that are just like us when we were young, never been out of Samoa, and they want to come out and they want to come to America. What's the advice that you would want them to know, and what are the things that tips that you feel like you can share with them that they need to know before they leave?
Well, they need to know is what they have there is a lot better than here. The life that they have there, the freedom and all this, even though there's not a lot of opportunities in Samoa. However, their lifestyle there, slowing everything down, is a lot better than because once you're here, you're in a grind. You're just you wake up, and next thing you know, it's nighttime already. So you don't get to enjoy life because of how fast everything is moving here. Like right now, I can't believe today is the February.
Yes.
Like time is just fly. It's so everything is so fast. So I would say, enjoy what you have now because once you're here, yeah, you're pretty much just another number. You know,
Yeah.
it's the daily grind is so fast, and everything is about money. You have to pay you have to have money to survive. In America. So just enjoy what you have now. The life that you have now. Slow everything down because yeah, and if anything that I can give back or try to tell the kids, it's start learning, about how to take care of finances because, like I said, that was one of the biggest problems I had when I first got. I didn't know how to manage it. I didn't know how to write a checkbook. I didn't know well, I did know how to write, but I didn't know how the whole thing operate. I thought it was just free money that I
To
just
balance
signed the
it.
thing and just because during my when I first got here, that's how I didn't have no cards or whatever. It was all checkbooks. So I literally had to write checks,
Yeah.
bounce it. Like, yeah, so that's how I think, I will max out all these credit cards and then I'll use my checkbook thinking that I have money in the bank, which I did not. So if anything, yeah, learn how to do finance, you know, and hopefully they're doing that in school right now because yeah, once you come here, that is the first thing that's going to hit you is how fast everything is moving, how money pretty much rule or dictate here in America. So I guess that's a short answer I
Mhm.
can, tell the kids. But just enjoy life.
Mhm.
Enjoy life. Stay out of drugs. That's the number one problem right now back home is drugs. So, uh, yeah, stay out of drugs. Enjoy your young days, because once you transition here, it's a different beast.
Mhm. So when you return to Samoa, what's the first thing that you are going to do when you get back home?
First thing I'm gonna do is just enjoy the weather, enjoy the warmth that Samoa have. I know my grandparents' house is needs a lot of work. Um, that's probably be my first priority is probably taking care of their kungamau because the tsunami really hit my village hard, and my grandparents' kungamau is like right there, you know, probably like 20 feet to the beach. So it got hit hard during a tsunami. So there's some cracks, on their kungamau that, my uncle is doing a really good care or doing a really good job taking care of it right now. But I think that would be my priority is to rebuild their kungamau, make it nice and the fali for the kungamau,
Mhm.
and then patch, you know, stuff for my grandparents' house.
Big Worm says, jump on the Pacific warm water.
Oh
What would
yeah,
you
of
post
course.
that?
Yeah, of course. That would be, that's a must. Just jump in the ocean.
Hmm. So,
What do you,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, what do you hope to pass on to the next generation in your family?
Um, Pretty much the same thing I said before, just enjoy, what you have now, you know, appreciate the life that, and all the lessons that you learn from back home. It's hard for me because most of the I don't have another generation, of my nieces. Yeah, they're way too young to understand, but the young generation that are there now, I would say the same thing. Just enjoy and learn, from your parents. Listen to your parents. There's a reason why they're hard on 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 all the kids. It's because they love you. The sasas it is is to hopefully make you better in the future. So just listen to your parents. Awal ka or also that kind of stuff, because all that you're gonna learn that when you come here, you're gonna really realize that, oh yeah, mom was always right, dad was always right about this. So yeah, just enjoy and learn from your parents because they've been there already. They know what they're talking about. Yeah.
So, Salia, what is your plan for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead?
Man, we all want to retire. My goal is, like I said, I really want to retire and go home. So, how old are we now? We're like 47 or yeah, 47. So, all of us really want to retire young, but can we do it? Who knows? All depends on where you at in life, right? So that is a goal. Is hopefully I can retire soon and enjoy the last half or quarter of our life or whatever you want to call it, by not slaving your entire life away to work and stuff. So that hopefully I'll retire soon. So and
Well,
that's pretty much. I hope everyone thinks like that too. Because I've seen so many people in my team that are like in their 70s, close to their 80s, and they're still working
Working.
because of they didn't line up their life when they're young or when they first start their work life, properly, with all the mistakes. So I guess that's another advice is to take care of your stuff when you first start getting into the work, getting a job, because learn from us because we've already doing the grind right now. So all the mistakes that we did when we first start working, hopefully we learn from it, what to do and what not to do, and then just build yourself. Moriko mentioned that he's doing some online trading, or what was he
Mhm.
doing?
stocks,
So
yes.
I know that guy. Yeah, that guy is probably just working from home. that's the dream life right there, right? Like we just want to sit back in our chairs and just work from home doing the easy stuff. He probably just type stuff on a computer. That's the dream. That's what all of us want. How do we get there? That's something you got to figure out yourself. Like learn all the mistakes that you've done when you first start working, stuff that and learn from it, and hopefully that you align all your stuff to where you can retire young. So, because
Set
you
up.
don't want to keep working until you're 70 or 80 years old. You want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Definitely. Speaking of Moloko, he said, might see you 2027, Oos. I'm done with the USA. Don't be a stranger, mate. LOL. Stay blessed, Oos. Keep pushing y'all podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lofaku Morikoa, man. Yeah, that boy. Yeah. He's a good man. He's a good man.
Well, we really appreciate you being on here, Saliha. And you're the first Ungapanka classmate to come on. So
I
what's
know.
your last words to say to everybody else that's out there that hasn't been on the podcast?
Hey, come on out, guys. This is really good, and I want to thank you, ladies, for doing this. It gives a lot of quiet people or shy people or everybody, we're all family. We're all a class of 95. We hold ourselves, to that standard. We're a very prideful class, and I understand that. So yeah, just come out and share a little bit because what you know or what you're thinking or something that you want to say, it might help someone that that is listening or watching this. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to be smart about it. It's just sharing your experiences, and hopefully it'll touch someone out there that might need to hear what you're saying, or even though it doesn't make sense most of the time, but you never know, it can help someone that's that is kind of shy or quiet. So
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you,
yeah,
Saliha.
yeah, just come out, get on
Mhm.
the podcast. These ladies are doing a great job.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Lena.
Malo Lava, thank you so much for sharing your story. Hopefully we'll get everybody out that's, like you said, quiet and be able to share their story. And, just hearing how it was and how everything is now, your success and how far you've gone. We love it. We love it for you.
Thank you.
Well,
Not
thank
not
you
yet.
guys.
Not
Go ahead.
success yet.
On
Well,
your
we
way.
thank you again. Thank you so much. Lena, did you want to say something else? Sorry, go ahead. Thank you so much, Saliha, again. Thank you, everybody else that's out there that's joining us on this podcast and who will be listening to this later on. Um, we have decided to open the podcast to all of our Samoan people out there who wants to come out and share something that that will help our people who are back home and those who are actually, here in America or around the world. But we love you all. Class of 1995, you guys are number one to me. So I need you guys on here. And as always, going to end it with, to God be the glory. Good night.
Thank you, ladies.